to another episode of the Composed Living Podcast with Elsa Elbert. I am your host, Elsa, and today's guest is Liz Schmoll. She is a running coach, a personal trainer. She has so many other certifications and titles that fall into that same area that she can tell you about. She's also my neighbor and a good friend, and most important of all, she was Pip's foster mom before we adopted her. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I love that little creature. And today, Pip and Barkley got like black satin pajamas, courtesy of Liz.
Yeah.
If Barkley was not so loud and boisterous, I would have invited them also on the show because they look hilarious. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. You did not always work in the running, coaching, training arena.
Yeah. I come from a long background of working in the fashion industry. I was born and raised in California. Went to school at Chico State. Marketing and accounting was my majors, which I did absolutely nothing with after college.
I can't picture you as an accountant.
Oh, I threw in the minor just because I thought there's so many marketing majors in the world. Like, why not differentiate myself? It was the hardest thing I ever did. I'm not an accountant. I can't do it. I'm not good with any of that. But I did it eventually.
Amazing.
My dad and one of my brothers are accountants and are really good at that. So I think that's the only way I actually was able to get the minor was with their help.
Amazing.
But then I started working at a fashion company, like towards the end of college, mostly actually just shipping, packing packages in the warehouse. And I loved fashion as far as I can remember back, and I thought that I always wanted that to be my main career.
Yeah.
And when I graduated from college, I could have gotten probably any kind of marketing job out there, just entry level, whatever, but I didn't want to try that without trying the fashion path first. So, as much as my parents didn't like that choice, I decided to keep working a warehouse job immediately after college and just see where that could take me. It was really more of a startup company at the time, so I thought, I'm getting in from the ground level, I can work my way up, which did actually work for me, and I did do that, and eventually I moved to LA from Northern California, opened an office for that company with one other girlfriend, and I stayed with the company and in the fashion industry for 13 years.
Which I also feel like is so rare for someone in your generation.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like I'm also in our generation. I identify with Liz's generation.
We're not that far apart.
But it's pretty unusual to stay with the same company for 13 years.
Yeah, I think I'm a creature of habit. And I think I when I commit, I commit. I don't like to break up.
Yeah.
So I stay, maybe to my detriment, a little longer than I should sometimes, but I do, and that's just who I am. But
it's so interesting. I never really thought about it that way, but you also are an ultramarathon runner.
Yeah.
And there's that same level of commitment for you.
I stay for too long.
For approximately 40 kilometers too long for my taste.
Yeah, when I commit, and I commit hard.
That's amazing though. Like you have so much like mental fortitude to be able to do that, I think. Chad has the same thing, like where if he just says, I'm gonna run a marathon, then like he's running that marathon. It doesn't matter what else happens.
Yeah.
I'm very weak in that regard.
I think it's a stubbornness too, and just like when I put it out in the universe, like it's gonna happen. Like if I say it out loud,
yeah,
I can't not do it. I'm competitive with myself also, and my brother. I'm the youngest of 3, and I have 2 older brothers. So I have a competitive nature deep down inside too, that I just like feel like I have to win at things. So
interesting. I think a part of that is really healthy. I mean, it gives you, it could certainly go the other direction. You've used it in, I think, a very healthy way. You had a great career in the fashion industry, and it has only been in this year, is that right? Or was it last year?
This year.
This year.
Yeah.
That you took the big leap of faith to start your own business. Even though you've had these credentials for a while, you've obviously been doing running yourself for many years.
Yes. So I started running mostly, I was always active. I played a lot of sports growing up. Cheerleading was my main thing in high school, but I started running after college, and you start with a 5K and then a 10K, and then things just escalate. And then
things don't always escalate.
They do. And then, after I moved to LA, unfortunately my mom passed away, but I kind of took that as an opportunity to be like, I can either let the world crumble around me, or I can do everything I can to make her proud. And so I was like, what can I do? Run a marathon. That makes sense.
That's when you did your first marathon?
That's when I did my first marathon. I will give my oldest brother credit. Him and his wife decided to sign up for this marathon first, and again, that competitive nature was like, well, you're not running a marathon without me, so I think I should do that also.
I love that.
They were living in Portland, so I had to figure out a way to train by myself for a marathon far away from them. Like, they had a group, but I didn't.
You're still in high school at this point?
No, I was post-college. I moved to LA, so I was
you were
like
27.
I was 26, 27 at this time. But I didn't have like a core group of people. They were training with a group, but I had to kind of like figure out, how do you train for a marathon by yourself? Anyway, so marathon, that somehow led into like ultramarathons. I just got really deep in loving running and like distance running and like where that would take me, and fitness in general, working out, lifting weights. You can't be a strong long-term runner if you don't do the cross training that comes behind it. So that was always very big. It was a passion for me, but I was still working in the fashion industry behind the scenes at all this time, and that was like my main source of income for everything. Well, ultra running was just a side gig passion.
A very time-consuming side gig.
Yeah.
So it's wild to me, like when we talk about ultramarathons, that's how many miles or kilometers?
It's essentially anything over a marathon, and a marathon is 26.2 miles or 42, I think, kilometers, depending on how you look at it.
And you just finished your first 100-kilometer race?
Yeah, it was about 64 and a half miles of trails.
In one day, like that's without stopping.
You stop at 8 stations. There's food at 8 stations.
But you're not stopping for like a week in between?
Nope. It's like a couple minutes.
Pace myself. Like, let's just get this 1 5K at a time until we're done. And you placed in it.
I was 3rd female overall and 5th person overall in this one. Yeah.
So incredible.
Yeah.
Do you still think about your mom when you're running long races?
I do, especially when you get into like, when you're doing those kind of distances, like you're not just running in the daylight. There's a lot of times, and you're not running with people a lot of the times. You're by yourself. There's darkness, and if you're on a trail, it's real dark. You have you and your headlamp and your thoughts. So, I'll listen to podcasts here and there, but you have a long time. Like, we're talking a lot of hours, so you have just a long time with your thoughts on the trails.
Well, this last one was 15 hours?
15 hours, yeah.
15 hours. Which is, I mean, most people don't even spend 15 hours just like alone with their thoughts in a day, let alone like in a way where you're trying to distract yourself from what you're experiencing physically. It's just, it blows my mind. It's incredible. But all of that was just to say, like, you mentioned you have to do the cross training to go with it. Like, imagine the strain that puts on your body.
Yes.
To only be doing the running motion and that impact on like your knees and your hips and your ankles. And to do it so often, like you're running almost every day.
5 days a week if I'm really in my training,
So that bodes really well for your personal training career that you have that level of expertise to know how to not be injured.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where that whole thing spurred from. Was I did have a few injuries when I was doing marathon training and didn't really know what I was doing. So figuring out how to run marathons and ultra marathons in a healthy long-term way was a big part of why I wanted to become a personal trainer, because yeah, you can run forever and ever, but it's the same motion all the time, and eventually you're going to get hurt if you're not doing the other part of it. The cross training is so important.
Yeah. I've been working out with Liz for, I don't know, let's say a couple months. I'm sure it's been longer than that, but I keep waiting for the day that it's going to be like, yes, I crushed this. Everything is so easy. But it never goes that way, obviously, because you just like increase the weights or change the exercises. Before we started recording, I was telling Liz, I worked out with her this morning and it was arms day. And then I got out of the shower and was trying to straighten my hair and I was like, God damn it. I can't even pick up this stupid flat iron.
I love that.
Like, it's my favorite. And she starts every exercise by being like, you're not gonna like this one, I'm sorry. And I'm like, I'm not gonna like any of them, and you're definitely not sorry.
I'm not sorry, usually, no. I just say that.
But it's so fun, and I think for me too, like I can maintain a routine, but I need the motivation to start the routine. And I used to love running. Chad and I would run 60 miles a month together just to sort of like spend time together, and also we were competitive with one another, and he would push me to go faster or run farther distances. And then it sucks like when that habit breaks and you don't replace it with something, then it's like I started gaining so much weight, and then just like stress of life and everything happening and like moving and 3 houses flooding in the same year.
Pandemic, throw that in the mix.
A pandemic, like all of that, and like the area where we were living was so hilly that it was like just not, it was not even comfortable to like go for a walk, let alone like go for a run in our neighborhood. And so then it was like 5 years, and then I went and had a physical at the end of last year, and high cholesterol, not the good kind, runs in my family on both parents. And he told me what my numbers were, and I was like, okay, well, somebody needs to start exercising immediately. And there you go, I showed up at your doorstep.
Yep, yeah.
And now I've finally, it's like that wonderful part where if I don't see you for 5 days, because we'll usually work out twice a week, and it's spaced so it's never usually longer than just a couple of days, then like I feel it. And I get like antsy, like my legs get antsy, or like my low back is like, I miss the core workouts.
Yep.
The only part of the workout that I love. So it's so fun. I've been enjoying that so much, and I do feel so much stronger. And now we're going to focus on nutritional changes too, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the people that come to me for training are people that are intimidated by gyms, are intimidated by training, are intimidated by lifting weights, don't know where to start, have no desire really to start. And I think that's like the most enjoyable thing to me, is to watch their transformation and like, I guess the confidence that it builds in people in general, not even just by like working out, but it leads into so many different parts of their life, and I love watching that happen. Like I have one girl that I've been training for 3 years, and when I first started working with her, she couldn't do 2 burpees without that being a problem, which is fine. I will start from ground zero with anybody, but she was just nervous around anything like that. Never would step foot in a gym, never had any confidence to do anything physical. And her boyfriend just went on a whole weekend backpacking trip where she like carried her own backpack.
That's amazing.
Went camping in the woods and like had to hike 6 miles in and like did this whole, like, she
So
never
good.
would have done anything like that before. And she actually reached out to me after and said, like, I don't
Yeah.
think I ever could have done anything like this before I started working out with you. And it's like that's what gives me so much
Yeah.
joy. And that's what I love. And I think that was kind of a big thing for me actually leaving the fashion industry. I started to have such a conflict inside of my soul of like, I still love fashion, but specifically, especially the fast fashion industry, which I will say the company I worked for tended to be on that side of things. It was such a conflict for myself because that's not where my core beliefs are anymore. I want to help the world and people and do more good. So for me, training, I feel like, is more fulfilling because I can actually make, even if it's just a one-on-one thing, I can make a difference in one person's life versus not making a positive impact on the planet.
I get that, and I think that's such a cool sort of backstory to it. Just, I guess it adds a lot to why you're so passionate about training beyond just like your own interest in physical fitness, which I think is really cool. And that's such a great example. Like, you do, when you feel better in your body and you see what you're capable of doing, that translates into so many other areas of life, you know? And this is why they say in some part why like your mental health improves and your mood improves, all of that. Like, you're just building so much confidence and awareness of your own strength and resilience that it's hard to find that anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, if you feel strong and you feel confident and you feel good about yourself and in your own body, like, that's going to carry into so many different parts of your life.
Yeah.
And help you in so many different ways. So that's a big part of it for me. Also, I tend to work with a lot of women, and women suffer more from osteoporosis, and lifting weights is known to prevent a lot of osteoporosis and those kind of related issues. It also has been shown to, lately there's more studies showing that working out in general, not just lifting weights, but working out in general, prevents Alzheimer's and Alzheimer's related issues. So I just think there's so many ways that moving your body, whatever that may be, is going to help you in such a long-term way. And it's not just about like looking aesthetically good, you know, like, it's just going to help you be happier, healthier, and live a longer life in general.
I mean, that's one of, like, not aging well in my physical body is like one of my biggest fears now. It's not something I ever really thought about as a young person, which I guess probably most younger people don't. But since I turned 40, it's been like such a mental focus for me, like just very different concepts, right? Like retirement and what that looks like and when that happens, and like estate planning and all of the, like, it's just, you're looking at the second half of your life, or maybe the second trimester of your life, hopefully. But I don't want to go into old age not feeling well. You know, like, I want, especially if we're expected to work like until we're in our 60s, and then you're like traveling the world, I want to be able to walk around Paris and cover 10 miles in a day and be comfortable with that. And I want to tie my own shoes, like, you know, remember stories and not drive my grandchildren nuts by like repeating the same thing over and over again. Like, I want to have all of my faculties and full use of my body for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. I mean, I did watch one of my grandma on my mom's side was the least healthy person, and watching her age the way she did made me really not want to age that way, because it just didn't seem like a very fun existence. And like, you do have so much more life, so like, why would you want it to be like that?
I do not. I will be vibrant and joyful for all of my days. That's the plan. So even though I complain for the entire hour that I'm working out with you, I understand.
Not the only one. I'm a trainer and
like
a part-time therapist.
You're the funniest client. Oh man. Although sometimes you do surprise me, and I tell you when there's a new workout outed that I like the weird burpee with the weights.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun one. But then every time I tell you I hate something, it just seems to recur more and more. So now I'm like, I love jumping jacks. Jumping jacks are my favorite.
I don't think it's recurring more. I think it's just that you hate it so much, you
stands
think it's
out.
recurring more.
It's just all jumping activities I'm not a huge fan of.
Well, those are not
It
gonna go
doesn't
away.
feel graceful. And you're just like staring at yourself in a mirror and like watching like your body go up and then like gravity pull things back down again. It's not a good look. Oh man. One of the things that we ask everyone on the show is if there is something that you're trying to cultivate in your life right now, whether it's a feeling that you want to experience or an emotional state of being or even like a goal, but usually if there's like a word that sort of describes what's going on for you right now. My word has been joy for a really long time, and then when I was talking to Kristen, who I think her episode airs next week. I said it out loud and then I was like, I need a new word. It doesn't feel like it's my word anymore, so I have some work to do.
I think my word right now would probably be growth, because I feel like I am in a growth period of my life. Again, I've been doing the training business for 3 years now, but I was doing it more of a side situation, and leaving the full-time 9 to 5 safe job was scary. And so now I'm in this like personal growth period of growing my business, growing my confidence as a trainer, and in growing my business. So I just think it's a period of growth for me.
That's such a good word. I remember so vividly what that feels like when you finally leave the security of working for somebody else and money just like arrives in your bank account every 2 weeks and it's glorious. And then all of a sudden you're alone and it's so different. Like it's not just like that your finances change and you're responsible for that. It's like everything about your daily routine changes. And it's hard. Like for me, I had to come to terms with like I felt guilty if Chad would come home and it just like looked like I wasn't working. You know, like I felt like I needed to be like falsely productive at all hours of every day to like justify why I like wasn't making a huge salary anymore. And then also like financial uncertainty is my biggest trigger in the world.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we've talked about it. I was like, we have so much in common. And so there was like, that threw me so hard where I was like, oh my gosh, like what is even the value of me as a person or in this marriage if I'm not contributing the same amount of money that I was before? So that was also difficult. And so now I'm watching you start this journey. It's like PTSD flashbacks. No, it's good. It was so much fun. And I think you're so bold and you're very courageous to like go out. Like you come with me to so many networking things and you do such a good job of promoting your business and talking to strangers. Again, not one of my strengths. It's hilarious that I have a podcast, you guys. Like truly, it's just, we were talking about this morning when I was like, yeah, I can't do anything other than like the podcast in the day because then it's just too many conversations with people for me and I'll overload.
Yeah.
But you're doing so good at like getting yourself out there and sticking with it. And like, you always have such a positive attitude, at least from what I see.
I'm trying. I mean, I know that being a personal trainer and a running coach, I'm like the thing that everyone wants to do the least. Like most people don't want to work out that much and it's hard. And I know that I'm also a low hanging fruit. Like when times are hard and the economy is hard, paying someone like me isn't necessarily top of mind. So,
but it should be.
It should be, but it's not. I know that I'm one of those things that can be easily cut. But you know,
But that's also like, that's something that needs to shift in people's mindsets, and especially in our culture. And again, like, I had a conversation with John because I'm very cognizant about spending money. And when I was working out with you one time a week, then I was like, I really want to bump it up to 2 times a week, and just wanted to make sure you're on board with that. And he was like, oh, let me see. You want to invest our money into your health and therefore the longevity of our marriage and the happiness of our family? Gee, what should I say to that?
That's how everyone should look at it.
It's such a good point, because like for me, it's not like, ever since I left Washington, I haven't found a therapist that I love, and that was a big part of my mental health care routine before. And then like not running, like it just, I need something that like helps release anxiety and get me out of my head and into my body. And that's the response that it is. Like, that's how everyone should respond. Like, this is a necessity of life.
Yeah.
Moving your body, like exercising. And for me, I'm more inclined to do that if I know that I'm keeping an appointment with you. So, you know.
That's why most people do need trainers.
Yes.
You can sign up for a gym membership, but how much of that ends up leading to nothing usually?
Well, and when I was working out at the gym, like, it's not, I would get bored. Like, there's no one to keep me pushing.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't like the exercise that I was doing and I was getting bored, then I would be like, oh, I think 2 sets is fine for today, you know?
Yeah.
Or you like skip a whole thing, or you don't do the cardio part, or like.
Well, you're also not trained to understand programming. So, I mean, that's why I'm certified in so many things, is because I do understand programming and I know how to break it up. I also understand proper form, so you're not going to get hurt. That's a good thing about working out with a trainer. They should know proper form so you won't get hurt. And yeah, I mean, there's progressive overload, there's so much that goes into it that's a little bit more than just like going to a gym and like getting on one of those machines for 20 minutes. Which I always say moving your body is better than not moving your body. I would rather anybody do that, but there is such a benefit to working one-on-one with a trainer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many benefits. There's accountability, there's fun.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can just show up and you tell me what to do is genius. I don't have to do any programming for myself.
Yeah.
And I get so excited. And now it's like the whole family knows. They're like, okay, have fun at arms day, or have fun at leg day. And I come home and show Link like what we're working on, and he gets a kick out of it. I did try arm wrestling him at Oktoberfest last weekend. I'm still not stronger than a 15-year-old boy. But
well, he plays football.
He does work out every single day.
I mean, yeah.
And he probably, I bet I could outplank him at this point.
Maybe not out bench press him.
No. But he's like in that mindset right now too, where it's like, what's the biggest amount of weight that I can press only once?
1 rep max.
Yeah. And I'm like, how can I keep all of my joints still functional and be able to tie my shoes or get in and out of a car without like groaning? These are my big challenges in life.
Joys of getting older.
Oh man. Do you have like a vision in your mind of if you could grow your business to like your dream level, what that would look like?
Just filling my schedule with enough clients every day would be great. I'm still growing, very much in the baby stages of growing my business. So yeah, just having a full enough schedule, I think, of clients would be the dream.
Would it be like a mix of running coaching and personal training, or do you have a preference, like you lean more towards one or the other?
No, I love doing both. A mix would be great. Personal training I prefer to do in person right now. I do have some virtual clients still from the COVID days. I guess in-person training is my favorite. Like I do have some running clients that I do only virtually, or I do a mix of virtual running and personal training. I think I just get more out of being in person with another human.
Yeah.
Like I get recharged in that way versus I have a hard time with tiny screens.
Yeah. No, I get that. And it's more fun. It's more interactive. You told me once too, it's also just like it's so much easier to look at their form and make sure that they're doing everything right.
1,000%.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
That's so exciting. Well, I love watching your business grow, and I'm so happy to be working out with you. Yay. And maybe I will train for some sort of a run next year.
Woohoo! Do it. A half marathon.
That was my non-committal commitment.
2024.
I would do, yes. I would do a half marathon in 2024. I feel
Totally
like I have
doable.
plenty of time to like start a running regime now. And now I have no excuse. It's like essentially flat all around everywhere we live.
There's a decent amount of hills over here.
Yeah. I mean, if you look for them, I'm not looking for them. I would prefer an entirely downhill winding path. Oh man. Let's talk about Christmas.
It's the most exciting time of the year.
It is the most wonderful time of the year. I'm so excited for your holiday party because of your theme this year, which I just cannot wait to see how you pull it off. But you can tell us what you're doing.
Slim Aarons. He's a photographer from mid-century modern-ish times.
Yeah.
I don't even know the exact years he was active, but there's a very specific photograph that he took in, I think it was Burbank area.
It's so
and it's actually his wife floating in the pool, and they put a Christmas tree in a pool, and they decorated it, and it's like this iconic photo. So my husband and I are crazy, and we got a fake Christmas tree that we're going to put in our pool and decorate it and like recreate this moment. I've ordered the print, so I'll put it by the door, so when you walk outside, you understand why there's a tree in my pool. And you have to go outside because the taco man will be outside, so you can't miss it.
I mean, Christmas and tacos. Welcome to Southern California.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever met anybody who is more passionate about decorating for the holidays than I am. And this year, we're going to start on November 1st, so everyone better be prepared for that. And in my case, I think I have a flight on November 1st, so Halloween, my Christmas tree will be going up. Maybe not decorated yet, or we'll stick with like a neutral palette until closer to the holidays. But I cannot wait to see the logistics of getting the tree into the pool and standing upright.
We haven't figured that out 100% yet. I need to build some kind of a stand for it to be on.
It's gonna be amazing.
It's gotta be like weighted, but it can't be metal in a pool. There's some logistics we have to figure out.
I love it.
I have a little bit of time, but we might be roping you and Chad into figuring out the logistics of this.
I'm here for it. I'm like already brainstorming.
I've already
It's gonna be so good.
I've already purchased the like decorations for this tree. I just haven't figured out how to make the tree stay.
Yeah,
in
it
the
needs
pool.
like a platform that's either like a super heavy plastic or I don't know, maybe wood. I wonder if wood
Sandbags.
does okay.
I was thinking, you could
sandbags
sand
on something. Yeah,
you
have
have
so
1,000 of
many.
those. I have so many of those. Yeah, if there was like a platform that wasn't metal and you just sandbag it down, that would work.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Or even like a small, I wonder if there's like a small table and you just get the legs to stay. I don't know. We'll figure it out and then we'll share a photo to the podcast so everyone can see how it turns out. Oh man.
Good.
And then I was driving one day and heard an advertisement for Mariah Carey and her holiday album. And the date that they were talking about was like, it was out in the desert and it was on a Wednesday, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm just not gonna like drive out there, and it sounds like a whole process. And then the next morning I got an email that she's doing it at the Hollywood Bowl. And I was like, yes, Liz, we're going to this 100%.
I'm so excited. I gotta think about my outfit.
I know, I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, do I go like Christmas sweater? Do you go like cocktail attire? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was leaning Christmas sweater, but now I don't know.
Yeah, Christmas sweater could be like cozy, cute.
So it could be
There's
cold.
like some
It's
fun
outside.
boots. Yeah, it's probably gonna be cold. It's at the Hollywood Bowl. Oh man, I hope they have like a good holiday cocktail or something. I mean, this is gonna be legendary. Like this Christmas album, I listen to regularly.
Yep.
I admitted to Lincoln that I play it at random times throughout the year when I'm in the car by myself.
Mariah Carey. I mean, I definitely performed Mariah Carey Christmas for my family as a child, even though they wanted nothing to do with it.
So good.
It's a very performative child.
Oh my god.
Put on concerts.
Oh, I cannot wait. And it's like finally this week not as hot as it has been in Southern California. It has been, I would say, unseasonably warm, but it's just, this is the new normal, I fear. But now we can actually start thinking about holiday sweaters and boots and scarves and hats. All of my favorite things in the world.
I ordered another sweater today, so.
Oh boy. Oh boy. What else? You were fostering dogs through Mutt Scouts.
Yep. That's how Pip came into our lives.
What a beautiful little creature. I feel like she somehow is like a part of me. like in a way that I just cannot explain. It's like the same thing as like when you see like your own physical child, and now I'm like a crazy dog lady.
But it's Pip.
But it's Pip. But like truly, like she follows me everywhere, and she has like such a little routine. Like the minute she has breakfast, then she just immediately has to find me again so that she can like snuggle wherever I am and go back to sleep. And then like she just drags her bed over and she'll take a nap if I'm working from home. I mean, I'm obsessed with her. She's obsessed with me.
She was my first foster dog, and we fell in love with her, but we knew I wanted to keep her, but I was like, I would fail as a foster if I keep the first one. Like, you can't do that.
But she's so cute and she's so tiny.
And I'm so glad that you guys loved her. I'm like, yes, she's still in my life and she didn't have to stay.
I mean, especially those first few days, she had such a traumatic journey to ending up in your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got her through Mutt Scouts, which is an awesome organization for rescuing animals.
They bring a lot of dogs over from Mexico that have had a really, really rough time at life.
Yeah.
One of the dog that we ended up actually adopting was another foster. It was like her third or fourth. I'm a terrible foster.
I think you're like their dream foster situation. But I guess, now you need someone to replace you in the fostering.
Yeah.
And I love that the dog that you did end up keeping, Ginger, is now Pip's girlfriend, and they are obsessed with each other.
Obsessed.
So it's hilarious. I wonder if they were friends in Mexico.
Maybe.
Maybe that's their like weird connection. They're like, hey, we lived on the streets together. I remember you.
I remember you.
But they're so cute together.
Very cute.
All 5 of the dogs together, and they're wild.
Yeah.
And even those first couple of days, I think Pip was so mellow when you had her, and that's partly why we all fell in love with her.
Well, she did growl the first 24 hours. I have 2 dogs already, and she spent the first 24 hours angry at them, which is understandable. She went through a lot. She just came from Mexico, had been in a car, in a crate, and,
protecting herself.
She's tiny. She's lived on the streets probably, and she's a tiny little dog. You'd have to protect yourself at that point.
She is hilarious.
In a complete stranger's home. But by the first morning when I woke up, I had made her sleep like in her crate, but with the door open so she had room. And by the very first morning, she crawls up in the bed and starts licking your face, and that's Pip.
That's what she does every day. Except for now, she waits until Chad falls asleep, and then she comes and like taps my side of the bed so that I swoop her up. Chad, don't listen to this part. Then she sleeps under the covers on my side of the bed all night, and then when we wake up in the morning, I'm always like, what? How did she get up here? It's wild. She learned how to jump on the bed.
See, that's why you guys have a higher bed than us. We got a low bed specifically because my oldest dog is 14, and he can't jump up and down.
He's so cute.
So I got a bed for my dog, essentially, because I am that person that lets my dogs sleep in bed.
I mean, I also just feel like they sleep better Yep, like she'll sleep through the whole night if she's sleeping on the bed, and she wakes up and tries to go on adventures if she's not under the covers. See, Chad, there's a benefit to having the dog sleep on your bed. It drives him bananas. But I think also like Barkley is so the opposite of Pip, and it's funny that like how much they get along, those two little wily creatures. Because he never wants like human interaction, and I thought he would hate having a little sibling, but they're obsessed with each other. And he just chases her around all day. He's so funny.
And now all 5 of them love hanging out. They have sleepovers.
In their pajamas!
Pajama party.
I can't wait for a photo of all of them together in their matching pajamas.
That's gonna be exciting. I gotta get it for Ginger. She's so big.
It's funny that Ginger's like the double extra large. She's a small dog, to be clear. Like she's not
double extra large.
Pip should be like an extra small. She's like 4 pounds. And Ginger is what, like 20 pounds, maybe?
20 to 24-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is not extra large in the dog community.
No.
Oh, poor Ginge.
Dog clothes always come so tiny. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I love your enthusiasm for dressing the animals.
Well, I had black satin pajamas, so I felt like my dogs needed matching black satin pajamas.
This is
how it started.
About you. I took a picture and sent it to Chad today. And I was like, why, yes, Pip is wearing pajamas. And he was like, sleeping pills for dogs I would be interested in. Like, both of them have been waking us up at like 4 o'clock in the morning for months, and we cannot figure out why. So it's driving him bananas. Rightly so. It's also driving me bananas. But I was like, maybe all they needed was pajamas. Did you ever think about that? We'll test that out tonight. Let's see how they do.
They just needed silk.
Or like a weighted blanket. Like maybe they just need a little something to
thunder
soothe.
jackets. They make thunder jackets for dogs.
Yeah.
They're like tight little.
Like a weighted blanket.
Yeah, it makes them feel safe.
Well, I'm willing to give it a shot.
Wrap them in a thunder jacket.
Poor Barks. This is what's in your future. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Yeah, thank you for asking me to do this.
Of course. I feel like, I see you more than I see anybody else in my world, probably. I guess I could have started with that. Our husbands have known each other since like childhood in Minnesota, and now they live, Matt and Liz live a couple blocks around the corner from us.
Yeah.
So it's so fun. We get to hang out socially. I also get to work out with you twice a week.
I get to go buy candles and things from your store all the
time.
time.
So fun. Yes, if anybody is listening and lives in the Woodland Hills area, we have an amazing selection of stuff in the shop right now. And if you're looking for a trainer, regardless of your level of experience, then you can find Liz at adventurerunnercoaching.com or on Instagram by the same name. And I highly recommend. I would say for me, I love the personal training, and so much that like now, I literally asked her unprovoked the other day, like, what would it take to train for a half marathon?
And those are my favorite words to hear from people.
So I will do it in 2024, but we're gonna really slow play this thing.
Now that she put it in the universe, I'm not gonna let it go. So
1 mile at a time. Well, and I think it would be fun because Chad would run too. Matt's such a good supporter.
He already has his Adventure Runner crew shirt.
Yeah.
I'm crewing my last race.
So I think we just need to pick a fun destination, and the 3 of us can run with very different goals in mind. Mine will be to complete. Chad, I'm sure will try to beat previous times, and you'll just be like, this is a casual Saturday morning jog for me. But it will be great. So now we just have to pick a destination.
Yeah.
Oh, we